Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, and hello if you are new. My name is Andrea Johnson. I'm a spiritual teacher and I help people step into their highest version of themselves through conscious expansion, energy work, and teaching. With that being said, welcome to Conscious Coffee Talks, where we discuss a topic to expand our consciousness and improve our lives. So let's dive in. We are going to finish part 2 of our Q&A. So I made a video already, part 1, and I'll link that down below. But you guys had a lot of good questions, so we're going to finish this out. All right, guys, so first question. In your opinion, what are the telltale signs of a spiritual awakening? So I'm going to use my own experience as an example, but I truly believe that once you start questioning your box of reality, meaning what you think life is and what you're doing here in your existence, I think that is the beginning stages of a spiritual awakening. You actually start to realize that you are more than just this body or this experience, and you feel some sort of calling or pull. Or most of the time, what kickstarts a spiritual awakening is something happening in somebody's external world where it basically breaks their box of reality. And most of the time that is traumatic events, because people can't believe that something is actually happening to them. Sometimes it's a death of a loved one, a loss of a job, moving cities, things like that. Something to make them start questioning their life and their reality and what the purpose is in their life. So it really makes you ask the deeper, meaningful questions and really kind of starts you down the path of self-discovery and basically breaking down your limiting beliefs and the idea of who you currently are. So it's pretty much a death and rebirth, and it's the first one that you will ever have. So it's quite extreme because we are thinking that we're this person our entire lives, right? When we come to understand that we can change ourselves and that we are more than what we think, or that what we think about ourselves is truly not in alignment with who we really are, it can be very eye-opening. It can be actually very depressing once you realize you've spent your life not living for yourself, essentially. So you're spending a lot of time on a self-discovery journey and reconstructing your life and your values, essentially. So you're becoming a new person, and that can be extremely hard. Next question. How do you know if you've had a true ego death or not? So I think that there's all sorts of levels of this, and I don't think that one experience is wrong. An ego death for me is losing your entire identity. It's becoming in touch with pure source, or becoming pure source. You totally forget who you are. You have no attachments to the life that you currently hold. Honestly, you become just consciousness. That is what I've experienced to be an ego death. Now, it can not be that extreme, because when I had an ego death, it was a Kundalini awakening. Now, I have other ego deaths that I would consider as I shed my ego all throughout my life when I make changes to become more in alignment with who I want to be, as I want to say heal, or as I change certain ideas about myself. So essentially, you're going to have more than one ego death. It's whenever you change the idea of who it is that you are to fit more into alignment with who you want to be. So the ego is just the idea that we hold about ourselves. It is energy, and it is a vibration, and it's the one that you're very much attached to, because it is the energy that mostly is spinning in the body. Because we keep habits and thoughts and belief systems and basically emotions on repeat. To change this, you have to consciously change it, because of the wiring in your brain creates neuroplasticity pathways from all of those things, the thoughts, the emotions. If you understand how energy in the body works, it explains it. Either you have to consciously change the idea of yourself to become somebody who you want to be. So thinking new thoughts, new frequencies. And you can use energy work as tools, therapy even, scripting, stuff like that, to change the idea of who you are, because it can be difficult the longer that you identify with a certain ego, or you have a traumatic event in your life that initially shatters your box of reality. So then you are forced to become a different person. How do I stop overanalyzing and talking myself out of accepting my experiences as true and legitimate? I think I know what you're saying in this is that you are basically not validating your feelings, so you think that you shouldn't feel the way that you do. about something that's happened to you. So say you had a traumatic experience and you're kind of shoving it down. You're not nurturing yourself. You're not validating your feelings. You're kind of just pushing it to the side, not thinking that it's important, when this is very toxic to the body and to the mind. But it's something us humans do because we are not in a place to process this information or this event as well either. I think that everyone should validate their feelings, no matter how big or small that a situation can be. If you feel like you shouldn't be feeling the way that you are, it's a judgment that you're holding on yourself and a sense of self-rejection, which just creates more resistance. So my answer to this is, because I've come across this a lot of times in my own life, guys, is to self-accept your feelings, because you're the one feeling them. You're experiencing them in your universe. And if you want to push them down or not accept the way that you're feeling, it's a rejection of yourself. You will just store that energy in the body. So it's validating your feelings and being okay with how you feel, because they are just feelings. They're just energy. You know what I mean? It's us assigning logic to the way that we feel in order to help us understand why it is the way that we are feeling, right? So my best answer for this is validate your feelings. It is okay the way that you feel, because you are the one experiencing it. It is your reality, right? Show yourself love and acceptance, and that will help transcend that resistance that you feel from whatever you're holding on to. Because essentially you're feeling these things for a reason. It is information for you to understand more about yourself. So you're feeling it for a reason, and that is okay. Nothing happens by coincidence, right? So even big or small, whatever you're feeling over what happened or whatever you're thinking, it's okay. How do you fully surrender? Oh, I love me a surrender. This was one of the hardest things for me to learn. Surrendering is not what you think it is, guys. It's not giving over complete control or like waving the white flag or defeat per se. It's honestly a freedom. Whenever you surrender, you relieve yourself of the pressure that you're putting on yourself. You relieve yourself of trying to heal yourself. Whenever you give over whatever is bothering you and surrender it to God, the universe, whatever, it is a freedom. It's a freedom feeling, because then you are open to healing, to receive what it is that you actually need in your life. When we don't surrender, we are actually trying to control our lives. And that control creates resistance, because it is fear. It is a natural thing for us humans to want to try and control every outcome, because that is just what the brain wants to do to keep us safe. It will create resistance, it will create stress in the body, and it will kind of leave you frozen almost. So surrendering is just letting go and allowing in whatever needs to happen for your highest benevolence, and understanding that it is not ultimately up to you what happens. It is an illusion that we ever had control to begin with. Whatever is gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You're just creating more resistance by trying to control. So when we let go and let God and allow God into our life by surrendering, we're actually able to see the love in the situation or in our life, and we are actually able to see opportunities or how things are happening for us, for our highest benevolence, and then we can easily flow through life peacefully, knowing that we can trust in the universe when we surrender. I made a whole video about this, guys. I'll link that down below. Go watch that. How to get started in your spiritual journey to be able to use your abilities to help others. Okay, I made a whole video on that too, so I'll link that below. I'm just going off of my experience, guys. I felt called to do this when I saw it improve my own life. When I went down a spiritual path because of the dissatisfaction that I felt in my life, the spiritual awakening that I essentially had because I was living life for other people. When I went down the road of like energy healing and meditation and holistic healing and coming back into touch with my soul, and really epic things started to happen, and I started to learn about the energy and energy work and how these things are tools to help you bring yourself back to yourself, and put you in touch with the universe. I used my gifts, which are what I consider just things that I was drawn to help me, and I used them in my own life. I experienced them. I applied the concepts to my life. Then I was able to help others. You can only help others from healing yourself, right? And that's going to actually be kind of like if you're wanting to start a business or things like that, that's going to actually be what attracts your clients, or it's going to be your story. And it's going to be very powerful because it's going to be what draws in people who need that same assistance that you were able to provide yourself and heal yourself with. They need that same thing, and you will be able to do that because you did it for your own self, and therefore you believe in the route that you took because you actually were able to do it. So it strengthens your faith and your abilities to help others do it as well. Now, I do recommend still practicing, and it's honestly a different level of working on other people or with other people because you're going to have their consciousness and their experiences and their energy at play here. Back to the question, work on yourself first, heal what it is that you're setting out to heal, especially if you're wanting to do a spiritual practice like, energy work or things like that to help others in the same way. Do it in your own life first, and then when you have the confidence enough and you practice on other people, things like that, start creating the business, putting yourself out there and attracting your clients. I made a whole video on that. I'll link it down below. Next question. How long has it taken you to really tap into your intuition and spirit guides to get clarity? Honestly, I didn't really work with spirit guides for a while. I just wasn't really drawn to it. And some people are like that. They are just not drawn to working with spirit guides. And it's not because I didn't believe in them, because I did have some, but I was just like that type of person that was like straight shot source, straight shot higher self, and angels. And that's kind of what I worked with for a long time. Honestly, because I think that's what I experienced with a Kundalini awakening, was such high frequency that I automatically wanted to shoot back there, straight shot. Some people work with guides first because it builds the level of frequency and vibration up to source. So spirit guides are kind of like that next level of frequency, close to a human. They have lived human lives, so they can better relate to us, but they're not as high vibrational as your higher self, as angels. Now, tapping into intuition, that came with practice too. Energy work really did help me because it brings your conscious awareness to your body and the connection that you have with your body, which is essentially the universe, because the universe is inside of this body. It's the thing powering it. Listening to your intuition, I really bring my conscious awareness to my body, and you do this in energy work if you work on yourself. I use it as a tool to really get in touch with myself, and it developed naturally. And I really want to say intuition is really your communication style with the universe, your personal one. You can think of it like as psychic abilities too, just using your five senses to process information from the universe, because most of the time it doesn't speak directly to you and as clear as what we would like. It took practice, and intuition is like a muscle. You're gonna actually have to test it out in your life. So, there are exercises that you can do. I made another video on how to listen to intuition. I will link it down below. But you're gonna actually have to ask yourself questions that you want clarity on, and you're gonna have to actually trust yourself and the answer that you received. Where people fault themselves with intuition is that either one, the answer that comes through, they question it immediately, and so therefore it really isn't intuition. They kind of waffle back and forth like, is this or isn't it? And my answer to that is, if you question it, throw it out. It's not intuition. Intuition is when you receive something and you feel it internally, like this is it, this is right. When you waffle on that, is this or isn't it, that means your faith is very wobbly, so it can go one direction or the other. When your faith is 100% behind an answer that you get, or an idea that you get, whatever you want to call it, that is when intuition will play out as being right with the information that you've received. So your faith is everything, right? And the body already knows how you feel about it. You cannot lie to your body, right? That's why you go in and connect with your body on intuition rather than think in the mind or listen to the mind, because the mind will play tricks on you. It is the mind, all it does is just basically spins. It just is like the transmitter of information, and it's all information. It's not necessarily things that resonate with you or feel good for you. It's just going to basically put in words or thoughts energy that you are holding, and that could be wounds. So intuition comes across more as a feeling because you can trust it more. Next question: how do we tune in to hear God or our guides after we have talked to them and asked for specific help? How do we know it's them responding and not ourselves? I will link another video down below, but essentially it's you. They are you. They are unconscious aspects of you. So whatever it is that you believe, if you believe that it is the guide responding, then it truly is. If you believe it is yourself responding, it truly is. Most of the time, what I have found is when I get a guide respond, I feel a different way. Physically, I feel different because their vibration has entered into my field, and I actually start taking on their characteristics or their wisdom. I get downloads of information, meaning perception shifts from the question that I ask. I see it from their point of view or from their wisdom, and it's not given to me and where the conscious thought came from myself of the current energy that I am. So whenever you receive information from guides, yes, they are unconscious aspects of you, but it will not feel like the information came from you. The vibration will feel very different, and the wording may be even different because the brain is just the transmitter turning information into words, right? So the wording may come out a little bit broken, maybe come out in like an accent, a different language even. So it really just depends on how that guy's energy is going to interact with your energy field. And also, my biggest advice on this too, guys, is if you are questioning yourself, once again, like with intuition, you're going to be waffling on that faith. If you question it, toss it out. Pay attention to the way that you feel in your body. Does your vibration feel different? Are your thoughts different? Do you speak in your mind differently? These are all signs that you're going to want to look for whenever you're calling forth a spirit guide to step into your field. Whenever you call forth a spirit guide enough, you work with these things, these energies, these unique bundles of energies enough that we've given names to so we can better identify those frequencies. Once you identify and become familiar with them enough in your field, you're going to just automatically know when the thing steps in, and you won't even have to call them forth. So this is why most people rework with the same spirit guides and they develop relationships with them. They are just unconscious aspects of yourself. That's it. But like I said before, if you don't believe it, if you're questioning yourself, toss it, try again, send out the request again. And if you still don't feel anything, don't fret about it, because the answer will come later. Sometimes we block ourselves because we put so much expectation on the outcome, or we freak ourselves out about it. Most of the time, it's either it wasn't meant to come through at the moment, and that is okay, or you need to let go of the expectation and just understand that it will come when it needs to, and usually it will hit you just suddenly when you forget about it. And it is the same concept with God. God is a frequency that exists within you. It's always in the heart center for me. I always find the consciousness of God in my heart, and I am 100%, I truly believe that the heart chakra is the bridge between heaven and earth, and that is essentially the frequency of God that spins in the body. The portal of God is what I call it. So I always tune into my heart center and I check in with my heart and my knowing. And honestly, God for me is just, it's an overwhelming feeling of love. Like I've experienced that in higher realms. Like I really think I've hit a really high dimension, like where my body lit up on fire because of the love that I felt. I was literally like a burning flame. I don't know how else to describe it. It was wild. And then the voice came from within my chest, literally within my chest. It was epic, but that is where I've experienced God. Now, do I feel that intense amount of love every time that I choose to connect with God? No, I don't. I think it was just a state of consciousness I was in at the time. But that wisdom that comes through that voice that you may want to call intuition, the thing that like you see yourself in, but yet it's not you, but yet it is you, that is what I call God. It's like this voice of truth that just freaking cares so much about you and so much about your life, and that there's just this comfort feeling that no matter what is going on, it's like it's not like, oh well, whatever, I don't care about you. It's like, it's not a big deal. It's like, I've got this, like, you know, trust me, like this is, there's nothing to worry about. And it's just followed by intense wisdom. It's just straight shot wisdom of high perception shifts. It is beautiful. And it's not coming from you. 100%. I could not think of these things on my own. Ultimately, like, just know if you're asking for help, you will receive it, and help is always there. You just need to ask sometimes. Next question. What are your top 5 books for someone to read in their spiritual journey? Course in Miracles, Conversations with God, A Return to Love. Now more conscious expanding ones are like Waking Up in 5D and Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. That's a good one to learn about the energy. Those are kind of like a little bit of everything. You're getting energy work and how it works with the body, plus you're getting really high spiritual perception shifts with some of these things. So honestly, like, it truly depends what you're called to. When I first started my spiritual journey, there was no way in heck that I would be able to read A Return to Love or 5D Consciousness, you know, Conversations with God, because consciously I was just not there to process the information the same as I would have been before I took the journey to evolve to that point. So I'm a firm believer that whatever books that you are drawn to, that you need to start with those first. Just ask yourself what you need, pay attention to your interest at the time, and the energy is going to have these things show up in your reality. You might see ads online, you might see a book fall off the shelf or whatever like that, but that's just truly how it happened for me. I was just following my intuition on what I needed to read to help me get to where I needed to go on my journey. So trust in yourself. Favorite spiritual practices: meditation, energy work. I really, really do love coaching or teaching. I call it teaching, guys. Coaching just seems so like there's so much resistance around it, like expectation. So I like to teach, either one-on-one with clients or students, or like class setting. Love it. Very healing for me. I also like manifesting, scripting, kind of like dreaming out my life. I call that a spiritual practice. And personal development. Personal development is development of the self. So that is a spiritual aspect for me. So I think of all those things practices. I very rarely, honestly guys, do rituals. And I know I do a lot of the kind of the witchy reels and on my Instagram, if you guys haven't checked that out, of just doing some rituals with it. And now, don't get me wrong, I do that sometimes. Like I will make like money candles, Reiki candles. I will cut cords, you know, I'll build crystal grids and things like that. I've made potions before. Funny how I did that as a kid, but I was making bath soaps but called them potions. So, you know, I don't rely heavily on that stuff. My spiritual practices are more in touch with myself and working on my consciousness and my mind, and I do whatever I can that helps assist with that. So like I said, meditation, energy work, reading books, conscious expansion, gaining wisdom. When you work on yourself and you learn about yourself and you learn about life and your experiences, and you actually like take action, applying concepts, that to me is the greatest spiritual practice. It is evolving yourself. You find your inspiration. I allow myself to express myself fully. I heard a quote one time: be the person who inspires yourself, and don't rely on other people to bring you that inspiration, because that makes you, you know, a dependent person on, you know, your happiness or energy level on somebody else, when you can't expect somebody to always bring you that inspiration. And for the longest time, guys, I looked outside of myself for inspiration. And not to say that it's wrong, because we can get on Instagram and look for inspiration. I watch YouTube videos still for inspiration, but the biggest one that I have is inspiring myself. And the way that I inspire myself is doing the things that I want to do and building myself up, talking positively about myself. When I realize that I'm doing the things that light my soul on fire, it inspires me even more to be a better person, to go after my goals and to take action and think positively. When I do these things and then I see it touch other people and I express it and I see the response in my reality, it then kind of creates this feedback loop of like, oh my gosh, I'm expressing myself and then it's coming back to me and I'm like re-inspiring myself, even from other people. Getting inspired from me re-inspires me. So it's a cycle, and that's how just the energy works. Whatever you put out in the world, like, you're gonna get it back to you. And this is life force for me. Inspiration for me is very high vibe. And one of the, I truly believe that everybody has the gift of inspiration. There are some individuals who are more inspiring than others, and I think it's just because they express themselves freely. And to do this, you have to know your truth. At least for me, I express myself freely on things that will not sway my faith. So I've accepted myself to be who I am, just like my energy work practice. Just like the things that inspire me, I love to share them with others. I never share things that I truly don't believe in. So it's just being truthful to yourself and allowing yourself to embody that truth and express it freely. And that is the highest vibration, basically next to God, that I can describe. I just don't think we do it enough. And there's a lot of people that are scared to express themselves because we're scared to be rejected. You come to find that you're gonna have haters everywhere, guys. I have haters online all the time. I get hate comments in emails, whatever, or messages all the time. And you truly find that when you know that you're in alignment with your true authenticity and your truth and your faith, and you believe in yourself and what you're doing and helping others, those things don't bother you. They don't bother you because you're not questioning yourself. Whenever things do bother you, it is because there's an aspect of you that believes in what the other person is saying to you. So if somebody thinks you're too much, if somebody doesn't believe in your faith or beliefs, then they're not your people. They're not supposed to be in your reality. People serve, oh, my kitty cat. People serve as test for us. We're always going to have those people who hold a certain level of vibration for us, meaning lower level frequencies. And that's just the way it is. That's how the universe is designed, and that's how it tests us daily. So anyways, guys, I still had a few more, but I'll do another question and answer, and then I'll finish up the ones that I left behind. But I think this video is long enough. I hope you guys enjoyed this conscious coffee talk, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Sending you all my light and all my love.